Well, it's that time of year again. Everyone reflects on the last 12 months, from those annual reviews at work, I hope yours went well, to our Spotify Wrap. Did anyone else have a strange artist pop up on yours, or was that just me? Anyway, it's reflection time. And with reflection comes looking ahead to the next 12 months. At DBIA, we are no different. We like to reflect on our wins and losses and make plans for the next year as well. On this month's episode of the Design Build Delivers podcast, we do just that. We're going to reflect on 2023 and look ahead to 2024 with CEO and Executive Director Lisa Washington and 2024 National Board Chair and Design Management Division VP from Whiting Turner, Dana Pomeroy. I am Erin Looney, and this is the Design Build Delivers podcast brought to you by US CAD. 2023 was a very big year for DBIA. For instance, I started here in February. I'm kidding. We accomplished quite a bit this year. So before we move into 2024 and on from our 30th anniversary celebration, let's take a look back briefly at 2023. What would you say are the three biggest wins over the last year?
Well, there were many wins, but if I had to pick the three biggest wins, I'd say that the update to our Design Build Done Right best practices was likely at the top of the list. We established those best practices in 2014, but the industry has evolved quite a bit since then. And the updated best practices take into account that evolution, and it really is the foundation of everything we do, because we know that without best practices, you can't optimize design build outcomes. And I think the second success builds on the best practices. I was thrilled at the industry collaboration that took place in pulling together these best practices. We are an umbrella organization, so we have members from the entire spectrum of design and construction industry, architects, engineers, contractors, owners. And we were thrilled that organizations like the Associated General Contractors, the Construction Owners Association of America, the American Council of Engineering Companies, and more gave us input on our best practices, so that, like everything we do at DBIA, we took diverse perspectives into account to produce a document that will really drive success for the entire team. And then the final success would have to be the results of the 2023 FMI market trend research on design build. It validated that our best practices really are making a difference in the industry. And that means that more people are understanding the value of design build, but not only that, they're understanding that these best practices can drive exceptional outcomes.
It was just an amazing year for DBIA in our 30th year. But for me, the thing that stood out the most is we really expanded our community, especially with our small minority-owned firms and our outreach to our design professionals and even our trades. We want to re-engage our trades, and that happened this year, and it's going to continue to happen. We also took a step back and we're celebrating our volunteers. This year is going to be noted as that key year that we really get back to the grassroots. And our volunteers are so strategic to what we do, and they're a huge resource of ours and us thriving as an association. And then lastly, DBIA took the leadership role in the industry for inclusion and diversity. It is fundamental to what we preach and design, build, done right. It takes all experiences and all backgrounds to come together and truly execute a project extremely well and in a trusting and inclusive community and project team. So those are the three things that really 2023 and our 30th anniversary year just means to me.
So that's all the good stuff, and everybody loves the good stuff, but we also like a little drama. So let's now talk about the three biggest, we'll call it lessons learned, not the three bad things, but lessons learned in 2023.
You know, I'll build on one of the successes that Dana mentioned, and that was our engagement of smaller disadvantaged business enterprises. I think we made great progress in engaging those organizations. And I think we all agree they bring great value to DBIA. The lesson we learned is that while they bring great value, they have very distinct needs. And as an organization, we need to dive a little deeper into how we serve this important community. They face unique challenges in design build, whether it be bonding capacity or issues of how retainage is handled. So I think we've done wonderful in bringing them to the table. Now I think we really need to look at how can we better serve this important segment. The other two lessons go together to some degree. I've learned that there's still a lot of design build done wrong going on out there. And that with that, education on the flexibility of design build is more important than ever. With the emerging popularity of progressive design build, we're seeing more owners jump into the design build arena with both feet, but they're not taking the time to understand the fundamental aspects of design build done right that apply to best value, which some call traditional design build, and progressive. We need to take a step back and celebrate the fact that more owners are using design build, but also figure out how do we make sure they completely understand the variations in design build and which variation is best suited to their culture and their organizational structure and the project.
Lesson learned is difficult because I'm such a passionate believer in DBIA and what all that we do is just, it truly is one of the best associations out there. So I think we do everything right, but one of the things that has kind of unfolded in the last few years for me, as I'm interacting with the board, our members, and clients, is design build sells itself, and that's a lesson I've taken away from this past year. And there are so many external forces that are pushing our industry in this direction that we don't account for and we don't talk about. And so I think that's one of the things we need to find a way to talk more about. We've made incredible steps in the right direction. As Lisa talked about, as our small businesses, they're very important in what we do. Also, it's our virtual design and construction, what we've done in that arena as well. And there's several other tools that are still available to us to add to our offerings for our members. And so that's one of the things that is a big lesson for me. And you got to find the external forces that are pushing us in that direction of collaborative, integrated teamwork. Next, I would say finishing the sentence. You're going to hear a theme today about our small and minority-owned enterprises, and it's finishing the sentence for ourselves and our customers is everyone wants to do the right thing, but you have to go beyond doing the right thing of saying we want small and minority firms involved. I have to understand their challenges to execute a project, to pursue projects, to be paid on time. Those things that mean a lot for them thriving and staying in business that we as the owners, design builders, design professionals, and especially trades, when we're bringing those folks to the table, is making sure that we're finishing the sentence. And then lastly, I would say expanding our understanding of the challenges our professional design members also have to go through, and especially when design build is being done wrong. And so our constant pushing in that area of design build done right will help our design professionals, and listening to them and balancing their needs against what our owners and our design builders need is very important.
Are you interested in sustainable design and construction practices, but concerned about profitability? USCAD, a VinZero company, helps forward-thinking ENR top-ranked AEC firms mitigate risk and drive profit through digitalization using Autodesk AEC technology. To learn more, contact uscad.com/DBIA for a free 30-minute consultation. That's uscad.com/DBIA. That's 2023. Now that's about to end. So let's go ahead and look ahead. We're going to talk now about how to turn those lessons learned into wins for next year. There are already big plans on the horizon for 2024. So give us a brief overview of some of the resources, tools, and programs that are coming out in year 31 for DBIA.
There are a lot of things. I'm going to focus on two that I think are critically important. One is the updated core course curriculum and certification exam, which will build on the best practices, which were one of our biggest accomplishments this year. The Design Build Done Right best practices are based on lessons learned in the industry. We assess our awards program, we look at research, and those best practices are derived from those things. And we're going to use those best practices to update the curriculum and the exam so that those individuals that carry the DBIA or associate DBIA credential are truly demonstrating their expertise in the most current knowledge as it relates to design build authority. And that's increasingly important as we see more owners engaging in design build. And the second thing I'm very excited about is we'll be rolling out a collaborative delivery leadership academy in partnership with Dr. Barbara Jackson. We have spent really our first 30 years focused on the process of design build. We have best practices in procurement, contracting, execution. And the next level, or jumping the curve, as Dr. Jackson would say, we're going to jump the curve to the people now. And how do we build strong leaders in design build? Because there's a very distinct skill set needed to be a leader in design build. It's that collaborative mindset. It's that making that mental shift from a segregated mindset to one of collaboration. So we're very excited that we've got 6 modules coming that talk about everything from leadership to trust to culture that individuals can complete and earn a digital badge. I think that this Leadership Academy is a great build on our certification program. So while it's not required that individuals be certified to take part in the Leadership Academy, we think that individuals that do both will really have a leg up on helping to advance the industry. I'll stop at 2, Dana, or I could go on all day.
No, that's fine.
I've got all day.
I like to look at it as we head into our 4th decade instead of our 31st year. I want to focus on the resources. Our resources are our members. They are making big impacts day in, day out as they are conducting business and supporting the association and getting involved at the grassroots. And so we want to continue to see that happen across our membership with our small businesses members and also our specialty trade members. Those are incredible resources in what they do and how they can improve the process as we head into our 4th decade is truly fundamental to making us better and better. The other thing is we have an association that's like no other, and where we have everyone at the table that it takes to build a project. And so all the tools are there. We just need to continue to bring it all together and have a single voice of design and construction. And with that acknowledgement and that embrace across the membership, we can achieve anything.
I'm glad you set the record straight on 4th decade instead of 31. Although when you turn 31, you don't want to think of it as your 4th decade. You still want to think of it as 31.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I'll go with the 1.
It's all about the context of the number.
Right.
So let's stay in that 4th decade. The current DBIA strategic plan, it established goals through 2024, which is the year we're about to go into, the 4th decade thing. So let's stop for a moment and do a vibe check on that plan. Where are we? Do you feel good about where we are? What is your thinking about what the update to that strategic plan will look like?
If you go with simple metrics, we've done an amazing job. If you look at the quantity of resources we've developed, we have released over a dozen resources. I won't go through all of them. People can look them up in our bookstore. But these resources are critical to driving implementation of design, build, done right. So I think we've hit a home run in terms of helping people understand the how-to. Where I think we perhaps could use a little more focus in the last year of the strategic plan is on educating some of the naysayers that are still out there as it relates to design build, or some of those that may not see the value for their particular profession. This design community is one that I'd love to see us reach even deeper into in the coming year, but also the next generation of design build leaders. We have a program whereby we can incorporate our curriculum into universities, but we've only just scratched the surface of universities that are incorporating this curriculum. And many university students aren't even learning about the basics of design build and the growth of design build. And that is critical to their success as industry professionals. So I think that in the last year of this plan, we need to focus a little bit more on that next generation of leaders and how we infiltrate those universities and get to those young and emerging professionals that are going to be the future of the industry. So we're very well in terms of quantity of tools and resources, have a little more work to do in terms of reach and getting those resources in the right hands.
Our students are vital to our future, and again, to design, build, done right. And every year at the conference, I make sure to step in and listen to the students present. And they're just amazing, smart, intelligent, full of energy and excitement, and the collaboration that goes across the whole team that comes and presents is second to none. And that's one area that I'd like to really focus on this coming year too, is those students, and how do we get them more and more involved. And like Lisa said, they are our future leaders. And then I will say the other check is we had a lot of big goals, and we are achieving them. Not all of them, but we are achieving them, and the results are there. And as we head into our fourth decade, we're not taking the foot off the gas. We're going to keep going and just make this a pivotal year, as 2023 was.
It was my first year at the student competition, but I've been teaching as a professor for 15 years. Man, this is really doing a number on my perception of how long I've been on the planet today. But I stepped in to watch one of the teams, and then later got to interview the University of Florida for, they won. If you want to check that out, that's in last month's podcast. They were fantastic to talk to. I mean, just the leadership, the confidence, the enthusiasm that came through with them. They were one of the better interviews I've done since I've been here, and I've done a lot of great interviews in my almost year. So what you're saying is true. I think the stage is set.
I'll add on, Erin, it works when they do engage. The young lady, Catherine Woodworth, that is chair of our Student and Young Professional Committee, she had a picture of her being presented the Student Distinguished Leadership Award in 2009 at our conference.
Wow.
My first year as executive director. And so she came to this organization as a student. And because of that networking and engagement, she has grown into a true leader, not just within her firm, but in the industry in general.
And she's a wonderful mentor.
Yes.
I've been going through a recent procurement process and interviewing design firms, design teams. And I will say some of these student presentations are as good as what we're seeing from professionals out there that are, many years in the industry. And some of the context that they brought to their presentations and the practice that they put into the presentations again, was just impressive. And so I think there's our program out there in the universities is second to none. We just need to expand on that.
Well, 2024, here we come. So let's switch a little bit away from students and to some of our programming and to some of the regions. One of our most popular blog posts from this year was about California's Senate Bill 706 that expanded state authority for progressive design build. Now, that legislation was an effort led by DBIA's Western Pacific region, and we have a podcast episode about how other regions can use what WPR did to gain some similar ground coming up in January. So it's clear from the way that post performed that region level interest is big. So talk about some 2024 plans for DBIA region engagement. How can national continue to support efforts within those 14 regions that do some of the on the ground work?
Well, Western Pacific is a bit of a unicorn. They are 25% of our membership. So they have critical mass in terms of members and highly engaged members out on the left coast. So I think as we enter 2024 and think about how we support our regions, we must remember that there's not a one size fits all approach to managing and supporting our regions. Regions are really driven by the legislative authority that they have. And if you look at our map of state legislative authority, you'll see various shades of green. The darker the green, the more authority. Now, we've made great progress, and, more than 20 states are the darkest green, which means full authority. But there are still pockets of the country, like South Central, where authority is weak or non-existent. And in those areas of the country, our strategy has to be completely different to engage members or even non-members, because if there's no authority, you may not have as many members. That's going to be a very different strategy than a Western Pacific that's got critical mass and strong authority even before SB 706. So the key, I think, is assessing each of the 14 regions and the opportunities and challenges that exist in each one, and giving them a customized approach to national support. The good news in all of this is I've worked for other associations outside of the design and construction industry, and many have hundreds of regions or chapters. We've got 14, so I think it's highly feasible to truly understand the needs and opportunities of all 14, and for national, and that includes the national board and staff, to support growth in the way that each region needs it.
And you can find the state statute map in all its shades of green on our website at dbia.org. Dana, before we get to you, I want to follow up with you, Lisa, about the playbook that Western Pacific is building. You talked about regions needing customization. So how do you think something like that legislative playbook could provide guidance to, say, those smaller regions?
I think the playbook can add value, but one of the things we're going to be rolling out that we haven't mentioned yet is a new state statute report. The 2024 state statute report is going to take into account authority at the state and local level for both best value and progressive design build. Because our goal as an organization in putting a playbook out is to position the states and the municipalities to have that flexibility that I talked about earlier. Now, California was ready to move on to progressive authority because they had strong authority and best value. But if you're in an area of the country that has no authority, Iowa, for instance, or weak authority, let's say Alabama, for instance, then we want model legislation that addresses the full flexibility. And if we get legislative authority, we don't want it to be one or the other, because again, that flexibility of design build is important. So yes, I think the Western Pacific playbook could be extremely valuable for states that are already strong in their authority to do best value. But I think that DBIA's model state statute legislation that we're putting out next year will be very helpful to those that are quite a bit behind the curve in their authority. And hopefully that made sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. You always make sense.
Put that in.
Of course. That's the title of the episode. Featuring Dana Pomeroy.
And I have to say, ditto. Our regions are so important to what we do. And we are going to be listening in 2024. And we want to help. We want to support. We want to grow your membership and each of the region's memberships. And again, have them help the foundation of DBIA across the country and nationally be recognized for doing that. So we're going to be out there. We're going to spend the year listening and looking at how we can best support each of the regions. Everyone has their unique needs and how they conduct business. And we're going to be listening to how we can help you. And so if you don't take advantage of it, don't blame us. So be vocal, be ready, get involved. We're coming.
I don't know if that was a threat or a promise.
I love it.
or a gift.
And as you see fit.
So look out, regions. Any way you look at it, we're on our way. So we've established that we're on our way into the regions. So let's look a little more broadly at DBIA's audiences. Let's threaten the rest of the people we care about. Who are you hoping to spend a little more time with in 2024?
And that's a tough one because they're all important. I mean, because we represent every discipline, they all deserve attention. But I am going to have to go with the entity that holds the purse strings and starts the process. That's the owner, the owners and their advisors. The growth of design build has been so incredible that there are a lot of new players, particularly on the owner side. And I think that owner education is important. I believe that many owners still believe that design build means, oh, I'm just going to sign a single point of responsibility contract and I've made the shift to design build. And that is not true. That sets us up for that design build done wrong that we talked about earlier. I think we really need to engage more with owners and their advisors, because those advisors are going to play an important role in guiding owners and helping them understand the importance of education on design build done right. It applies in any other industry. If you're going to see a dentist or a doctor, you want to make sure they've got the appropriate education and background, right? Well, that should be the same for anyone engaging in design build from both the owner side and the industry side. So Dana, I'm going to stick with owners and their advisors as my top one, and I'll let you add. I suspect I know where you're going to head, but I'll let you do it.
It's so appropriate you use the professional term doctors. And this is a conversation that has to happen with owners and even with design builders is when you go to your doctor and they say, you have cancer, you don't start asking them how much your fees are and what's it going to cost. You want answers on how you're going to get cured and successfully get cured, right? And that's where pushback is coming from the design community and others. Is they're being used as a commodity and not the design professionals that they are. And so listening to the architects, the engineers, interior designers out there, especially consultants, which make up a lot of our small businesses, minority-owned businesses, and our trades. At the end of the day, construction happens through our trades. They're out there swinging the hammers, putting pipe in the ground, putting skin on buildings, putting windows in place. All that goes on is from our trades. And so it's important that we're reaching out to all of them and making sure that they are coming together within their regions to make us all better.
Well, that's great. And all those people are important. But none of this matters. Not a single thing we're talking about matters unless there's an industry that needs us, and them, of course. So let's look ahead a little bit. What are some trends or hot topics? Are there any things that come to mind immediately, even before we get there, that you just know we're going to be right there tugging at our heels? Is it tugging at our heels? Is that a real expression?
It is now. I would have to say that there's no trend like progressive design build. Everybody's interested in it. The owners, designers, contractors, everybody's interested in progressive. I'm not sure everybody understands progressive. while it's not a new concept, it's been around many, many years, particularly in the manufacturing industry. It's new to many within the DBIA membership. And there are so many public agencies at both the local, state, and federal level that are interested in it, even though their legislative authority may not necessarily allow them to do it. So there are tricks and tips of the trade, so to speak, to allow them to do it. But again, it has to be design, build, done right. Design, build, done right applies to progressive design build as well as best value design build. So I think the trend is definitely that people want to know more about progressive design build. And we're answering that call with some new updated progressive design build curriculum that will roll out in January. In addition to an update to our existing curriculum on progressive, we're creating a new prerequisite course for anyone interested in progressive, because there are foundational elements of design build that apply regardless of which variation you're using. And we have to make sure that anyone that's jumping into the progressive design build arena understands those foundational aspects. That goes back to an earlier answer where I said owners are coming in and they think they can go straight to progressive with both feet. They've got to understand the basics of design build done right, because our best practices apply to all variations. So that's a long way of saying that I think the biggest trend is progressive design build, and we're on top of it with some hot off the press curriculum coming in January.
And I would say, back to our leadership focus next year as well. Good leaders remove challenges for their team. And Lisa mentioned earlier about the naysayers. Some of these naysayers are other associations that are in the industry. And so something that we've started, Lisa and others have started, is building those bridges with these other associations that are strategic to the entire team achieving design build done right. And so that's one of the areas that we're going to focus on this coming year, is how we build those better bridges, get them more involved, and show them how it's really, is impactful. And the other thing that I think we need to be doing too is speaking as one through our regions as well, and using terminology that reinforces what we always talk about is the mindset change that has to happen going into design build. And whether you're doing best value or progressive, it's truly a mindset change. And so we need to make sure our terminology we're using aligns with that and reinforces that imperative, right? That we have to be more collaborative, be more inclusive, listen more, speak less. And if we keep doing that, we'll just continue to get better and better. And so that is a very hot topic on my mind.
One of the extraordinarily popular sessions at the Design Build Conference and Expo was the one that featured all the associations. We got so much wonderful feedback on there. So what you're saying, Dana, people want that. People are responding well to that already. So I think that's a great direction to go. So final question here. In 1 year, we will be doing this episode again. It'll be 2025 almost. Let's speculate wildly for a minute. What do you hope we'll be able to say about 2024 when we reflect next December?
It's funny that Dana talked about these related industry organizations because, if I could speculate wildly, well, first I'll say that working with those organizations to bring that session together was one of the most fun things I've ever done. The collaboration, the openness, the good and the bad that they had to share was incredible to hear. And they're all just good people. And I think that's indicative of everybody in this industry. It's important to remember, and I think it's important for listeners of this podcast to remember that part of DBI's mission statement includes the words that we want to ensure project success and success for all players on the team. Mm-hmm. So this is about the project and the people. These people are running businesses. And DBIA has never touted that design build is right for every owner and every project. What we espouse is If that decision is made to use design build, we are the only organization that is exclusively focused on ensuring that project and team success. We are not pushing a product. We're not selling it. Dana said design build sells itself. We are saying if you make that decision, there is an organization who is focused on your success and the project success. Mm-hmm. But, I would say that I would want us to have established a strong synergistic relationship with all of those organizations that were on that stage at the conference and others for the purpose of, I'd love us to say at the end of next year, we have full design build authority in all 50 states. And so now we're going to move beyond that to the international world.
I'm playing that as a soundbite at the top of next year's episode.
We've still got 2 states that have no authority. We've got about a dozen or so that have limited authority. And a year from now, I'd love to see all the states with widespread authority. We had 160 design build related bills that were introduced in 23. A 78% success rate. I'm looking for equally as many bills and 100% success rate. And we can do it, Dana. Let's go do it.
Absolutely.
I'd like a little more enthusiasm from you.
Absolutely.
There we go. There it is.
So for me, it shouldn't be us saying whether it was a successful year or not. I really think it's our regional leaders that say, we had a positive impact collectively across the country, as Lisa just mentioned, and on what they're doing, supporting what they're doing in their regions and their members. And it all comes down to the members seeing us moving the ball forward for them. And hearing them say that we did that, we listened, we took it to heart, we helped them improve their offerings and improve the association and what they're doing in their daily lives. We all go to work every day and we want to do our very best and we want to enjoy what we do and be passionate about it. And so I think our regional leader says at the end of the year, that happened. We listened, we provided, and things are getting better for them. I couldn't see a better measure of how 2024 turns out. And also our small businesses as well. We had a lot of small businesses join this year, which was a huge accomplishment. And it's keeping them involved and getting other small businesses to the table and them seeing the benefit and how their lives have gotten better. Their project experience, what they're experiencing on design build is better. Love to hear that at the end of the year. And then and our trades as well, seeing more trades join the association, be part of our conferences and see the value and how this whole team comes together, and that we are, to what Lisa said earlier, we're looking out for every membership type that we have. And that's because we're one family. And again, I can't stress it enough. There's no association out there that's focused on complete delivery of a project. And everyone that's involved, inclusive of everyone that's involved to make that happen, and everyone enjoy and have fun along the way. And we can't forget that. We got to enjoy what we do every day. And that's what DBIA and their membership brings, especially when we're doing design build done right.
And doing design build done right was the goal in a very busy 2023. It was our 30th anniversary. We had updated best practices. Nearly a dozen new resources came out. We had record-breaking conferences. And design build done right will still be the goal in 2024 and beyond, going into our 4th decade. That's still doing my head in. I hope Dana's method of calculating time didn't send you into a tailspin as well. Let's all try not to dwell on it. Instead, let's have a great holiday or winter break. If you're traveling, take pictures and share. If you're not, try to enjoy some downtime. Either way, the Design Build Delivers podcast will be back in 2024 with all the DBIA resources and tools we talked about today and more. So Happy New Year, and thank you to USCAD for their continued support. Learn more at uscad.com/DBIA.